Hello, welcome to the World Business Dialogue. Today I have the pleasure to speak to Anastasia Tabakova. So what do you do?
Hello, I'm from St. Petersburg. I live and study there. What I study is actually engineering and management for energy enterprises. And energy is the sphere that's facing the change for sure. And that's why the topic of the dialogue is so important for me.
Okay, thank you. First question would be, what trends and uncertainties are shaping the future of energy value chains?
Well, from my point of view right now, the main trend is actually the price of oil and gas. Well, right now it's the main trend. So the cheaper the oil is, there are actually more opportunities for the power-consuming industries to develop there are. And actually, also when the price of the oil is low, there is not so many opportunities for the research and development and not so much interest in it for like alternative energy sources and like for maybe new oil fields. And so this is like a problem for the development from my point of view. But on the other hand, when the prices for oil are high, this is a real opportunity for alternative energy sources with renewable sources, of course, to develop. That's why I think, well, the trend of the oil price will stay for the next years, from my point of view at least, like, I don't know, maybe 10 years. But clearly, people become more and more conscious in the world. We can see it from the Paris Agreement that been signed not so long ago. And people really start to care about the nature and start to understand that consuming energy means not only like to produce something or to do something, but means also to harm the nature in some way sometimes. And that's why I think that also a trend that will come definitely will be many policies, local policies in different countries or in the regions that will really cover the alternative energy source and will really require to produce more and more green energy, so to say, that doesn't harm the nature so much.
Okay, thank you. How do you think will the market evolve in the coming years?
Well, clearly there are different markets, and I mean, I'll tell a little bit about like some of them. Let's start like with European Union and maybe USA. Well, these are very highly developed countries that are in these regions definitely, and they are really like really strong energy efficient programs running there. So I mean, the productions really start to the demand for the energy is lower from my one point of view because the energy reduction policies are so strong. But on the other hand, I mean, the population grows, and I think that in Europe and the USA the consumption will stay kind of on the same level. But there are, of course, different regions like Asia with China and India developing so fast. Of course, they require more and more energy and more power plants. That actually means that this is a future market. There will be the building of new power plants there definitely. And the question is which power plants will there be, like the traditional ones or the alternative ones? I think that will be a kind of combination of both definitely, because to build like the alternative power plants like the solar wind, it costs quite a lot, and it should be worth it. So it's the economical question. Africa is also developing very fast. We've heard on the conference today that microgrids are developing there very fast, and I think it's really the future for Africa. Well, and as I'm from Russia actually personally, so what is the future for Russia? Well, I mean, with gas and oil so cheap there, clearly we will stay connected to gas for the nearest years. But I should really say that the green trend, that the trend of ecology is starting to become more and more strong in Russia as well. And like really many universities are doing so many researches on different alternative ways to produce energy. Some demo stations on some universities, like in my university, I am also taking part to create really like an eco campus where you really like produce all the energy and consume it. And it's really like great to see it. Yeah, we started to produce it, and we try to do it like to produce more and more every year. We start to use some solar panels, and yeah, maybe we will do something with wind as well and get some wind energy as well in the future.
Interesting. So what are the possible appropriate energy policies for the future?
Well, the reduction of energy consumption is very important, but it comes with actually the management of the whole process. The first thing that is very important is that the people understand that you shouldn't waste energy, that you need to switch off the light when you don't need it, that you need to switch off, like to turn off the water when you don't use it. And that's actually a very important thing in the mind of people, that you really need to get to them, to communicate to them. And I think that this is the most important thing to the policies and to the all the people there in the energy departments. It's not so much about the technologies, it's more about the mindset of people, and you need to get to them. And when you do that, I think that the reduction in the energy consumption will be really huge, and it will be so enormous. And I think that this is actually the first step. Well, the second step, you definitely need to continue to research the new alternative ways to create energy, because clearly oil and gas, there is a lot of it now, but for how long can we stay like that? It's really harmful for the nature, for the ecology, and alternative ways to produce energy are very important. So I think there will be a lot of research in this sphere. And really important is the storage of energy. Like we heard today also during the session, sometimes there is no wind and sometimes there is no sun. So you need the storage of alternative energy sources to make it, and also to make it economically good, to make it so that it can all function, and to really so that you can really step to alternative energy sources and forget about the traditional energy sources. So this is my point of view.
I agree with that. How do the energy providers adapt to the lack of resources?
Well, there is, from my point of view, not a lack of resources as such right now, because, clearly there are some regions that require more energy, but that's because either they are developing so fast, like India or China that we've talked about already, or maybe some regions that are located difficultly, like in mountains or somewhere else, and it's difficult to put the grid out there. But actually we have a lot of resources nowadays. The question is, what will happen in the future? What happens if we will have a lack of gas and a lack of oil? What happens then? Well, I think citizens really think a lot about it already right now. That's why we develop so fast and so actively alternative energy sources. And I think this is actually the future. So when we get the storage and alternative energy resources are becoming cheaper and cheaper, like each year, you really see it. So clearly there will be more ways to produce energy. Definitely the new know-hows will come. So from my point of view, I'm not sure that it will happen in the nearest years, the real lack of resources, but definitely people all over the world will switch from traditional energy sources to the alternative energy sources in a short while.
Okay. Thank you so much for taking your time to talk to us, and I hope you enjoy your stay at the World Business Dialogue. Thank you.
I really do. Thank you.